Like looting isn't like an individual thing. It's not like one person is like, I'm gonna loot now. Looting is a thing, like it erupts along with rioting. Think of it this way, okay? Imagine you're playing like a paradox game or like a grand strategy game, okay? And you're playing, you know, you end turn, you start up again, and then you get an alert notification. You get an alert. It says, due to high taxes and low food resources, and you never cleaned up after that hurricane, this province is gonna I'm looting. And then like one of your cities or provinces or whatever is like rioting for a turn or 10 or something like that. When you watch that happen, is your thought like, wow, the people in that city sure are fucking dumbasses? Or do you think, I sure fucked up by allowing the material conditions which led to this riot to proliferate for as long as I did? I was worried you'd complain about the optics of it all rather than defending the looters. Yeah, but you can't do anything about it. Rioting and looting just happens when a society fucks up enough. It's not an individual thing. It's not like people. It's not like individuals are like we're looters and we're gonna loot when the thing happens. It's a sociological, like it's like Durkheim. It's like Durkheim on crime, you know? Durkheim. You guys, do we got any fellow Durkheimers in chat? Durkheim, if I'm remembering correctly, thought that crime was useful societally because crime is an indication of social antagonism. So if crime happens, it's like society telling you there's an antagonism at a given point. If people are looting, that's useful because now you know that there are conditions there which gave rise to that incident. Looting and rioting is like it's like a sensation of pain across your body. It's like a rash on your skin, you know? The rash sucks, the pain sucks, but it's not actually the problem. The real problem is the thing embedded in your skin that caused the rash. The real problem is the injury that caused the pain. It's very important. You can't just like arresting the looters and rioters doesn't fix any of the underlying issues. Haha, let's go. Where are we at? Find Samuels in Seegson's Synthetics. Okay. Mountain of Madness. I think I saw that, but I'll go over it on stream. Alright, we got shit to do, boyos. We've got a shotgun. We've got a pistol. We're heading south. We gotta go here. Then we gotta go here. We're doing it now, baby. Let's go. Alright? Everyone enter the zone, okay? The gameplay zone. This guy's dead as shit. Gamer zone. Get gamer zone. I'm entering the gamer zone. Oh hey, speaking of the gamer zone, have any of you guys seen Craig by the Creek? Or Craig of the Creek, I'm sorry. Have any of you guys seen Craig of the Creek? It's this kid show on Cartoon Network. I don't know if it's currently airing still or if it's done, but it's like this really... It was made by one of the people, I think, who worked on Steven Universe. It's so cute. It's so cute. I really like it. I thought I wouldn't like it because I thought it would just be like... kind of like irrelevant, like everyday isolated incident thing. It's so well written, I think. It's so wholesome. It values such like nice stuff. It's also really progressive, but like not in an in-your-face kind of way. The main characters are black, and at one point during this literal like Y7 like kid show or whatever, a black grandma picks up an old scrapbook of photos from her during the civil rights movement, and she's with a bunch of other people like with like a big flag saying like equal rights now, and the kid is like, "Hey grandma, you sure look cool here," and she was like, "Yeah, well, there's a lot going on back then. There's a lot going on today." It's actually really cool. You don't usually get stuff like that. Like, Steven Universe is progressive, but it's progressive in some kind of, it's like an alt-universe progressive. Like, oh, because the gems are all ladies and they're all lesbian, whatever. But it's not progressive, like, directly addressing and criticizing real-world stuff, whereas bringing up the civil rights movement is pretty unheard of in, like, a kid's cartoon, at least in my experience. What's the name? Craig of the Creek. Okay. We need to head over here. Over here. How do you feel about Mau Mau? Mau Mau is also really fun. It's so cute. Why do you want to politicize kids' cartoons? I don't. All kids' cartoons are politicized. I just want them to have the right politics. Is all art political? Yeah, of course. What are you doing to lose weight? Your boy needs to drop some chunk. Just counting my calories, that's it. 2K a day, that's all I do. Well, not yesterday. Yesterday I felt like doing more. That's another important part of dieting that nobody talks about. Sometimes you... Whoa! No, 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 no! You're dead! You've robed your last bot. Fucking robots. Reload the stun baton. Are you contributing to diet culture? Nah, diet culture is toxic as fuck. I'm not advocating you guys do any, like, crazy body stuff, but if you guys want to lose weight, which you should, which, you know, you can do if you want, then, you know, making sure you're eating an appropriate number of calories is the most important step in doing so. Why do they vomit when you hit them? In the Alien universe, all the fucking androids have this weird white goop that's like the internal coolant, I think? Or it does something. I don't know what it does exactly, but it's their blood. I don't want people to diet, but they can if they want. Wait, no, that's not hypocritical. I don't care what weight my fucking fans are at, but if it's something you guys are interested in doing, then that's the way to do it. Oh. Nice, Space DUI. So many fucking corpses. Well, Kit Kat bars, lowering your carbs and sugars goes a long way towards making you healthier, but when it comes to losing weight, it's pretty much just calories in, calories out. There is some complexity to it, especially since people have different metabolisms, and some people will digest different foods at different rates, but yeah. I ate a celery today, be proud of me? I don't know if I could do that, comrade. Well done. Do you think lifting culture is cringe? Nah, lifting culture's fine, as long as you don't go too crazy with it. Wait a second, I just remembered. The alien isn't here. The alien's not here, guys. Oh yeah, we don't have to fight, I guess. I was just ready to. No? Don't be cringe. Okay, Macaroni, that's pretty fucking cringe. No need to waste ammo if you don't need to do. Vaush doing the carbs bad trope as a vegan, I'm very triggered. I'm not doing the carbs bad trope. What the fuck? Sure, I'm glad these guys don't have a ranged option. Tech New Brothers, I usually just do, like, unscheduled debate stuff, but I'm not opposed to it. What do you mean the alien's not here? Because it was jettisoned off a different part of the ship. Fuck! Ah, I thought I could do it faster. No, I'm not. All right, you're done, Robin. Wait, why did that one not kill? All right, almost did. All right. I thought you were jettisoned with the alien? Yeah, but I made it out. There's a mod which makes the Roberts sprint at you. I'm gonna be honest, this game's already fairly difficult for me. I'm okay with things how they... I'm alright with it. I'm currently satisfied. I need to use more items. But yeah, seriously though, guys, diet culture is really fucking bad, okay? It's not good, it's not healthy, okay? If you guys are interested in losing weight, you don't have to do some crazy fucking hyper-specific shit. Here's some suggestions, okay? Why don't you just get into cooking your own food, okay? Just get into cooking your own food. Chicken breasts, potatoes can be really good. Cauliflower is fantastic. Just buy these like really like simple base foods, beans, fish, get this stuff. You don't need meat if you don't want it. And just learn how to make simple meals for yourself and do a meal prep. Potatoes have always been my favorite, like basic food. You can do anything with potato. Oh God, do you guys want to, oh. Caleb Maupin, thought you said wife instead of plus you are white. Yeah, I feel like reaching out to like correct the misunderstanding, but then I remembered he called me like a pedophile, so I don't really know. Okay, where are we at? Oh, I'm just tech support services at Gemini Exoplanet Solutions. Just going over here. Do you think you'd ever stop being gay and go back to normal? Hans, that's some lazy bait. I'm giving you a month. I'm giving you a month. If it was normal bait, I'd be fine with it, but that was lazy bait. You gotta try harder than that. Yeah, exactly, Damaged Cortex. The iodized is bad. I might unban Hans, okay? He'll definitely send me an email. Come on in. The water is great. Vaush didn't even mention carbs? Yeah, because it's not fucking relevant. It doesn't matter where your macronutrients are coming from. It just all that matters is the calories. Gayfesh, I have access to some fucking private info on that particular thing, and I'll update you guys if I can later. Do you think people are responsible for their inaction in the same way they're responsible for their action? Yeah, of course. Vaush dieting segment? This isn't a dieting thing. Just, guys, if you want to be healthy, the two components of that are what you eat and what you do with your body. And if you exercise, that's great and all. If you're interested in losing weight, in all likelihood, controlling your eating is probably an easier option. Because, hey, listen, running for an hour is like 300 or 400 calories burned. That's like one bag of chips. It's just not very good.
I'm not sure I can do this.
Ricardo, I need you to focus. You're in charge now.
In charge? In charge of what? A room full of dead people? This is fucked up!
Focus, Ricardo. If Samuels can talk to Apollo, he can get the androids to stand down. Then this will all be over.
I'll be talking with Paul's ego soon, Murphy. There we go. Exercising is just not a great way to lose weight. Now, mind you, cardio. Cardio is still really useful because it helps you keep strong, healthy lungs and heart and stuff like that. It's for health. But if you're just talking about losing weight, it's like 90% diet. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Fuck. You should do cardio, but you should do it to keep your heart healthy. You shouldn't do it to lose weight. It's systemic undoing tech. Nah, Drawbach, a lot of, like, bro science about exercising is just completely wrong and has never had any, like, valid... you have to target this, or you burn fat in this group, or you exercise to do the thing. Nah. Now, the only validity to that point broadly is that, exercising increases your metabolism. It's not just, I don't know why I can't find whatever item this is referring to. It's not just a matter of, how is it? Oh. God. Have a good one, Arachnoid. Yeah, okay. It's not just a matter of, how much actual, like, calories you're burning, it's also about increasing your metabolism. That's why eating next to nothing is a horrible way for losing weight. Not only because it hurts your body, so don't ever do that, but also because your body goes into starvation mode and starts preserving every single calorie you take in. Exercise is important. Yeah, Louise. I don't know, fossilized demons. Show them a JREG video. I don't know. Could I talk to you about my experience in China, my thoughts on current issues, and make great content? Maybe, but probably not today. If I talk to anyone today, it'll be debate. I would love to talk with a fan of AJW or Caleb Maupin who thought that I like blew either of those debates. I would love to have one of those conversations. Holy shit, that would be so much fun for me. Oh, probably waiting it for now to Noob Brothers. Am I a materialist? Yes. The fuck? Where's that? Oh. I was wondering where that light was coming from. Jesus. Young Groiper is back. I can't do another... We did it. We already did it. We already talked with the Nosbel, like, twice now. We can't do it again. If young Groiper comes on again, it'll be like 15 minutes tops, okay? Has he changed his views? No. He's probably just come with like some new studies or something that I have to point out aren't. What do you mean slavery is involuntary? You can just choose to kill yourself? Dude, I can't believe Caleb couldn't think of another fucking argument to that. It's so frustrating when I'm arguing with somebody who I know could make a good counter-argument, but I know the counter-argument and they don't. It's really frustrating. Because I have a response to their counter-argument, but first they have to make the counter-argument. Oh, sorry, AJW. Not Caleb. Because what I want to happen is for me to say A, and then he says B, and then I say, C, and then the debate ends, okay? But what ends up happening is I say A, and then they, like, sputter on it, and then their audience responds with B later, and they're like, well, B, but now I can't respond with C because it's not in the context of the debate. The person who I was debating wasn't intelligent enough to run through the entirety of the argument, I guess. Why don't you ever steal man if you have the rebuttal? Fuck that. When I'm arguing with, like, fascist-adjacent people, I'm not going to help them make their arguments.
There's a security alert firing off in the labs nearby. Elevators are out. Looks like the Sikhs and synthetics aren't taking kindly to a Wayland Yutani model snooping around.
So how do I get up?
You have to climb. There's a service vent through to
What?
the elevator shaft around there somewhere.
What? Why was this guy killed in a sadistic manner? Who would have done that? This isn't the xenomorph. And why would the robots do this? The droid and alien tried to kill Ripley that way? Ah, it's a reference. This guy died in an unrelated accident. 8382. Remember that, guys. Okay. The level of detail put in this game is just wonderful. For a game from 2014, too. Crayons. It'd be nice if you debate people like Bastiat. I have debated Bastiat. I've debated Bastiat twice. My issue, though, is that I can't, like, debating really, like, intelligent, good faith liberals will ultimately just lead me down the same, like, road every time, which is, hey, I think it's unethical that... I mean, I could go more than that. I like being able to move people on the idea that it's unethical that, like, workplaces are authoritarian. That's, for me, that's, like, a really... I guess maybe this is just my bias, but this is, like, that's really important to me, personally. Do you have plans on playing the DLC? Maybe. We'll see how this ends. Scared to get lib pilled? Yeah, that's what Lib Raven's saying every day. I have not finished the RE7 DLC. What about fasting? Maupin debate open to state terror in the GFJ debate. Wait, I seemed more open to state terror than in the JF Gariepi debate? I don't think so. I mean, ultimately, like, I feel like my positions are really, really consistent, but they don't always... People might interpret that as not being the case, because when I argue with different people, I have to take different approaches. You know? I use 2 monitors, Idle Wheeler. Oh, thank you, Barbecue Guana. BBQI Guana. That's cool. Alright. Nice. Are gaming streams saved? Yep. All streams that I do are saved. Do you think 1-hour debates are too short? It seems like you barely scratched anything. No, that's because of Caleb Maupin, not because of the hour. An hour is a perfectly sufficient amount of time to discuss plenty of great ideas. Caleb Maupin is just a literal fucking NPC. We really gotta be shaken? Oh, hey, hey. Oh, hey. Hey. Hey! Get! And up we go. Whew. I think I held that off to the last second. Anyway, the issue there is just Caleb Maupin. Caleb Maupin doesn't actually have any interest in discussing anything. He just proselytizes. Oh. He like talks forever. It's insane. Video games are crazy. If I was ever in this situation, I'd just die immediately. That's how I felt when I played Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Yeah, exactly, funny rhetorician, yeah. He doesn't actually engage with anything that's said. Just talking with an NPC. Yeah, Mako 56. Pretty funny. No, Homdog Ava, I haven't made a video on that just yet. Sure, Duke Beardsley. Auntie, I loved Resident Evil 7. I didn't like Machine for Pigs very much, Zevlon. I didn't like it when it felt so, I guess, streamlined. It took out a lot of stuff I cared about, like the limited lantern oil. Machine for Pigs was trying to be more accessible, I think. I know a bit about Siren Head. Anyway, as I was saying, I have played the Resident Evil 2 remake, Auntie. What was I about to say about Caleb Maupin? Or about, like, proselytizing? What was the point I was about to get at? Was it 1 hour debates? Oof. I don't remember what I was going to say. Damn, that's really frustrating. Hello. You're still alive, aren't you? Motherfucker. I know you're still alive because I can't loot you. Oh, wait. He's building a huge... I still can't loot you. He's building a huge narrative on Twitter. Yeah, Caleb Maupin. Yeah, what are you gonna do? People get mad when they debate me, dude. They get really fucking mad.
Here. Looks like the place synthetics go to die.
Huh. Hey, Speaker D, thank you so much for the tier 3 sub, and no, I am not excited for the next Warhammer edition, because then I'm gonna have to relearn the fucking rules. Do you really think China is fascist? Not defending China, by the way. China is infinitely closer to fascism than they are to socialism. That is, I would defend that with my life, yeah. Are they, like, actually, like, fascist? Do they meet, like, fully the characterization of a fascist government? I think that would depend on some of the that would be interpretive. Did I say this? I can take a look. Yes, I saw the Joe Biden thing. Hey, speaking of a new patch to Warhammer content, how about the fucking War in the Paunch, huh? Hey, any of my Warhammer 2 boys been playing up? Hey. You seen this yet? Why? Okay. Black militias are guarding black-owned businesses with automatic rifles. Okay. But this is from Zoomer Clips. Is Zoomer Clips a Nick Fuentes outfit? Yes, Zoomer Clips is a Nick Fuentes outfit. So this is meant to be a negative thing, but everyone in the comments seems to like it. Alright, that's pretty fun. I do like that. I am appreciative of that. You know, like, look at all these scary black guys. Everyone's into it. Oh! Okay, no more Twitter. Jesus Christ, stop linking me Twitter shit. Holy fuck, we're never gonna get to play this game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that generally speaking, Asian cultures tend to be pretty traditionalist. I'm not trying to be, like, generalizing there. It's just something that seems to be the case. Man, Jesus Christ, there are so many fucking servo corpses here. Thunderbird, I'm pretty sure there is a strong heritage of, like, celebrating traditional culture in China. I'd have to look more into it, but I reject the idea that, like, there isn't a fundamental, like, component of, like, history worship to Chinese culture today. I don't know. Would you support a capitalist insurgency in a democratic socialist country even if it went against your values? Why would I ever support a capitalist insurgency in a democratic socialist country, like under any circumstances? Like, ever. Yeah, baby. Okay. Something's gonna happen and all the fucking robots on the table are gonna get up and attack me. Yes, All Might, I would say that. It's a very, very eventual, very, very long-term goal. Isn't Jimmy Dore, like, a fucking brainlet? Is this not true? Do I speak falsehoods? I've never seen anything of Jimmy Dore. For a second, I thought this said, I've set up some black androids. Like, oh, damn, they've got a fucking diversity protocol. Have I ever cried? Yes?
And when I asked what the hell it was doing, it lunged for me. I had to leave my own fucking apartment. Send your best technicians to Apollo Core and find out what the hell is going on. Now! Get those things under control. I want a full report ASAP.
The door up here's blown. I can't get near it.
Electrical door? Oh shit, it's all zappy. Power level too high. Ha! Oh, Jesus. Got some... How do you read chat if it goes so fast? I mean, I don't read every single message that comes through. I generally just read the messages that are tagged at me, you know? I skim other messages, but... Oh my god. AGW fans on Twitter said you should compare one group with HRT against one without to assert the effects. To assess the effects of puberty blockers, but wouldn't that introduce a new variable? I feel like they're square pegging a round hole. Yeah, it's dumb for a fuck ton of reasons. First of all, the idea that we need to hyper-specifically test if puberty blockers lead to like any negative outcomes for people who take them but then don't go on to transition kind of presupposes the idea that there are a lot of people who don't go on to transition, which isn't true. Most people who take puberty blockers do go on to transition. Second of all, if we've already determined that puberty blockers don't lead to a substantial decrease or like a statistically significant decrease in the bone mass of people who take puberty blockers and then go on to transition, doesn't that kind of indicate that the variable has been accounted for unless you're suggesting that the process of transitioning increases your bone density? And if that's the case, considering both trans men and trans women benefited from that procedure, how could there possibly be a bone density issue that is solved equally by taking estrogen and by taking estrogen and by taking testosterone? So you would have to argue that, okay, yeah, well, hormone blockers may not lead to any statistically significant deviance in bone density for people who transition, but what if taking them but then not transitioning does result in that being an issue, even though there's nothing about transitioning that would intrinsically lead to an increase in the bone density? The main issue is that's what AJW did the entire time. He constantly shift the burden of proof. For the puberty blocker thing, he brought no data, and the studies he did bring, I found pieces in them that indicated he was misrepresenting them. He brought nothing. So if I have studies that show that puberty blockers aren't harmful, and they seem to pretty convincingly, at least according to the researchers, suggest that conclusion, the burden of proof is now on him to suggest a reason why, or an argument for, transitioning somehow being a factor which would mitigate the alleged bone density decrease from puberty blockers. Yeah, Yarn, but hormones don't make your bones more dense. Certainly not testosterone and estrogen. And why the fuck is this room so ominous? Okay. No, it's okay. Count Weebula, I no longer guarantee reading every single donation. I've just been doing it today because I'm a little out of it. But normally I tend to just say like, thank you, you, and you for the $5, you know? I can't guarantee that I read every dono out loud anymore. It's not possible. What was the point of that room? Check Discord for Mr. Deprosium, please. Why? Because I'm lonely? I'm afraid that is not a sufficient reason to beget my interest, but I love and respect you. How big of an issue is the bone density thing? It's not. It's not that big of an issue. And even if it was established that bone density was an issue for children who didn't go on to transition, we're talking about a minority of a minority of a minority, and then you would have to argue that the risk of people who take hormone blockers but not transitioning potentially suffering a statistically significant decrease in bone density outweighs the majority of people who take them using them in a way that substantially decreases suicidality for the rest of their lives. It's an untenable argument. Maybe Red Wolf. How do you deal with being pro-gun rights as a lefty? Dude, I don't fucking know. Half the fucking libcucks in my chat aren't even pro-gun rights. These crazy fucking Euro... I assume you're Euro shits. Comrade Yamada, I can't do Chad Vice. I'm not like a Chad. Hassan is a Chad. It just looks silly if I was doing it. Okay, so I need to turn another thing off. Do I have to go here? Behind? Oh, it's in the SRA? I think it's cool. Looks like it'd be cold in here. What's my opinion of Mel? Who's Mel? Is that pic from Pol? Why are fucking Poltards looking at my shit? Are they all jerking off to my old pictures? Oh, Mel is nice. You should go do live coverage of the of the protests. Do you know who I am? I'm not going outside. No problem, Malcolm. Okay, so I can't go back. All right, I see. That's Anita Sarkeesian. Anita Sarkeesian's content should have just been inoffensive. Like, just like inoffensive liberal feminist takes. Maybe a little on the swarfy side. Not like super so, but I did kind of get the feeling that like, because to me the correct position is there's nothing wrong with sexuality in games or whatever, as long as it's being done equally, because that way it's not discriminatory, you know? So for every game where you have like a big-titted wench like slaying monsters by spraying breast milk out at them, you know, you could have a guy who like whose like ball sack could be used as a flail. I don't really know. Like I'm saying, there has to be equity, okay? I don't want to get rid of. All right, sorry. I don't know. I'm in favor of him, spooky leftist. Okay, so we're trying to reduce the total amount of power in here. How close are you to beating this game? Probably in the second half, I would guess. There has to be another generator that I can get to. Sorry, Musical Molotov. Music is gay. Haha. Okay, that if it's not there, it's got to be somewhere over here, right? You should debate a swerf. I've debated a swerf before. That one Britbonger swerf. I thought that was a pretty good conversation. Yeah, Melanie seems like a nice enough person. Why is this room red? Why? Why is this room... There is no other room in this game that has looked like this. Oh shit, rip hyena. Why is chat full of anti-gun libs? Like I said, Eurocucks. Maybe America really is the proletarian state because it seems to be the only state that internalized Karl Marx's views on firearms. The rest have forgotten. I'm a little stumped. Here, I'll follow the tracker. Okay, I knew it was the door. Count Weebula, as a libertarian socialist, the decentralization of power and the ability to commit violence is an essential step towards eventually securing the ability to free ourselves from the confines of the state. All right, so what's up?
You wanted to debate, or I guess we both wanted to debate.
Yeah, well, I was told by a mutual friend that you had a disagreement with me. Regarding Caleb Maupin?
Yes.
Yeah, hit me out. I don't know any of your positions. I can't criticize yours.
Well, I think the reason I had gone on a tirade in your chat, in your live stream last night, was because I felt like you were very bad faith in your debate with Caleb, or at least you did not approach it in the best of faith. Very far from good faith.
Sure. In what ways do you believe I acted in bad faith?
I think the problem started when you basically did McCarthyism against Caleb, where you had implied that he was somehow disloyal or treasonous or anti-American because of his views questioning like the dominant mainstream American narratives.
Yeah, so just to clarify, I wasn't calling him treasonous. I was saying that being anti-American was the extent of his ideology. I even clarified that by saying that I was also anti-American, and that any reasonable socialist should probably also be anti-American. But these aren't ideologies. These are just, like, means of antagonism. So I wasn't trying to impugn him specifically for not liking America. It just felt like that's all he has. It's the only thing he believes in. I feel that way about a lot of tankies, honestly. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with well, if you could say that he was anti-American and you meant it in good faith, and you don't know his position then, because he would reject the label of anti-Americanism. He would refer to himself as trying to push some sort of a socialist patriotism, or like socialism with American characteristics, or American socialism.
That's yeah, I mean, of course he would, yeah, but he's like a dishonest little weasel. So I don't really care so much about what he says as what he actually does, which is...
I don't agree with that. I disagree strongly with that.
I know, but yeah, but he like shills for China. He works with Russia today. He's gone on Iranian state media. Like, he seems to have an interest in bolstering the geopolitical power of countries that are geopolitically opposed to the United States. He's like a turncoat, right? Like, he's like a snake oil salesman. Like, he'll come here and he'll be like, we need socialism, you know, America wants socialism, but then he'll go back around to defending China, which is about as socialist as America is, and try to like prop up and bolster their, you know, geopolitical relevance. I guess it's like a pretty common tactic for demagogues.
What is the point of you saying all this? Are you trying to prove that he's dishonest? Because I would say that you could hold those positions. Well, maybe not all of them, but you could hold his positions without being dishonest. And I would say that he would also say the same thing about you. You're being dishonest. You're shilling for the CIA. You're shilling for U.S. imperialism.
Well, anyone can say anything, but yeah, I would say he's dishonest. Right. In fact, just within the context of my debate with him, he frequently mischaracterized me so severely, I can only assume that his intent in doing so was to try and poison the well for his audience. So, like, for example, when he said I would have Nelson Mandela or Einstein punched, when he said that I wanted war with China, when he said that I was engaging in McCarthyism, when he said that I was a neocon, when he said that saying a person is a fascist is dog whistling to Antifa, almost everything out of that guy's mouth was so incredibly misrepresentative that it was basically just like flat out lying.
I don't.
Oh, shilling for the CIA too. That's another good one. That's definitely something I do. I defend the CIA.
I think what happened in that debate then was that both of you assumed dishonesty on both of your parts. And then what happens is that because there's no mutual good faith, there's no mutual trust.
No, I treated him in good faith. I didn't misrepresent his position a single time.
I would say that you did when you misrepresented his criticisms of like U.S. foreign policy as being fundamentally anti-American.
No, but you have to. I wasn't criticizing him for being anti-American. I was saying that's all he has. That's his ideology.
But his position is not anti-American though, because to oppose the United States government is not the same as opposing America.
It's not that he opposes the United States government. It's that he bolsters countries that have geopolitical interests opposite to ours, and he does so by praising them for things that are markedly worse than what we do.
I disagree that the countries that he defends. Or defends against U.S. imperialism or even critically supports have interests that are opposite of America.
Wait, you don't think China, Iran, Russia, Assad, you don't think these countries don't have geopolitical interests opposite to those of the United States of America?
No, because if I will recall, I'll recall when the Qasem Soleimani.
I'm sorry, Assad isn't a country, yeah, but Syria. Yeah, go on.
When the Soleimani hit, the Soleimani assassination occurred, one like really high-ranking official in the Iranian government said that their enemy was not the American people, but specifically like Trump, Pompeo, and Bolton, and that anybody that like any Iranian or any of the Iranian-backed groups that targeted just regular American people would be committing like a crime. So like I think you have to differentiate.
What does that have to do with what I just said? That has nothing to do with their geopolitical interests.
Well, let me explain what because the Iran might be against the ruling class of the United States and the government of the United States. But the government of the United States and the ruling class of the United States they're not the same thing as America, as the United States of America.
But when we talk about geopolitical interests, we're talking broadly about the interests of the state. So,
yes,
but Caleb Maupin isn't defending the people of China. He's defending the state of China. He was defending the institutions. Do you think I would disagree with Caleb Maupin if he said, like, we need to respect the Chinese people, independent autonomy for socialism or something like that?
Yes. Well, no, you wouldn't. I don't think you would disagree with Caleb. I'm just going to point out that so let me clarify. Do you draw a distinction between the state, the U.S. state, and the U.S. country, the U.S. nation?
Of course, but I don't know what this has to do with my claim that he bolsters the geopolitical interests of countries that are opposed to America.
Because I would say that he doesn't bolster the interests of countries that are opposed to the American people, but he only bolsters the interests of countries that are opposed to the government, the state of the United States.
Yeah,
and the state of the United States itself
yeah.
is counter to the interests of the American people. We have essentially a treason state.
No, that's not what treason means. Every state doesn't represent the interests of their people.
Then every state is committing treason.
That's not what treason means.
If you're disloyal to the nation, if you're disloyal to the people, then you've committed treason.
No, treason is a legal term that refers to misbehavior on the part of state officials. But if we're going to talk about mistreating your people, the Chinese government is far worse off than the American government is. So why doesn't
That
Caleb
may be so.
Maupin spend his time criticizing them and defending the Chinese people?
That may be so, and I think he would even grant that. He would even concede that yes, the Chinese people are probably worse off to their people. But I think the difference here is that China is basically like 50 years ago, it was one of the poorest countries on the planet. But the United States for the last half century has pretty much been the global hegemon.
We can't defend autocracy with that. China's a big boy now. It's a big boy grown-up country, very wealthy, very powerful. We can't keep defending
it's not all that wealthy.
President for life Xi Jinping. Okay, we can't keep defending.
China is not all that wealthy. It only seems wealthy because it has so many people. But if you look at GDP per capita, China's like it's still very poor.
Yeah, because it concentrates all its wealth in the business and industrial sectors that it allows foreign companies to invest in to exploit their workers. Yeah.
That China, okay, I would say that China was pretty much forced to do that through the geopolitics.
You can't claim that China is a proletarian state and then it's also a totalitarian government and they had no choice but to be ruthlessly capitalist and let their workers be exploited. You can't make those claims.
Okay, why can't I?
Because then you assign no agency to non-American countries, which is a little weird. China is perfectly capable of making its own decisions when it comes to how it wants to run itself. And B, then nothing can ever be socialist, because as long as America exists, every other country will have an excuse to turn into an autocratic state capitalist hellhole with no criticism from tankies like Maupin, because every time they do something wrong, it's an inevitable consequence of American geopolitical hegemony. But anytime America does something wrong, it's due to the unique evil of global capitalism. China is global capitalism.
America is the global hegemon, though. The other socialist states, including China, like sure, China might be the second largest economy, but still, head to head, China is far weaker than
okay, well then why is Scandinavia, which is far weaker than China, not an autocratic single party state?
You would have to go back to the Cold War and the history of the 20th century to understand that.
Then communism failed. Then not only did all the communist bloc countries turn into capitalist countries, but now they get indefinite excuse to be authoritarian hellholes because America still exists. China could be a democracy. It doesn't have to be authoritarian.
If China were to become a democracy to the extent where they completely open up or they introduce far more freedom and liberties, they would go the way of the Soviet Union.
The Soviet Union collapsed because it had a weak and failing internal infrastructure and a horrible statewide corruption that meant they were unable to meaningfully.
That may have been the underlying causes of the Soviet collapse. I would agree with that. That's like the long-term causes, but the proximate cause, like the immediate cause, was their opening up. Like they opened up and then within a year they collapsed.
Do you think a state that can't survive without repressing its people might not be a very good state?
It's not a good state. Yes, I'll concede that. But if you're under attack, you have to resort to those measures.
Yeah, this is it. This is exactly what I mean. Other countries can't do any wrong to you. No, but that's what you're doing right now. Every bad thing another country does, even a country as powerful as China, I could see a defense for like Cuba being authoritarian. A tiny island nation, poor as shit, right on the coastline of America. I can hear arguments for that. China is a monolithic, incredibly powerful, rapidly growing, quickly industrializing superpower.
Balance of power. You can't just look at China. Like China's very strong, yes. But you have to look at the balance of power between China, or like if let's just assume that China for this particular argument is socialist. Even if China were socialist, the balance of power in the world between the capitalists and the socialists would still be vastly tilted in favor of the capitalists.
There are no socialists right now.
But just for the
China isn't no. It's just capitalists and capitalists. China is one capitalist and America's another, and they're both horrible.
China is capitalist. Let's just say China is capitalist. How do you explain the level of antagonism between the United States and China then?
Because that's what firms do. They compete. That's like saying two monarchies can't fight.
But yes, firms compete, but they don't compete like normal capitalists or normal capitalist firms don't compete at this level. Like,
yeah, because it's countries. But what about them both being capitalist means they can't compete? Do you think there's an ideological conflict here? Like America's trying to stop the spread of Dengism, and Xi Jinping is trying to stop the spread of American pig dogism?
If you read the foreign policy journals of like the top level foreign policy journals in the United States, that's basically what they say. They're saying that, we thought that the introduction of capitalism within China would have led to the overthrow of the Chinese Communist Party, and it would have brought an end to communism in China. But now that China is
the introduction of capitalism,
stronger. Like,
China is worse than America. We're both capitalist, but at least we have a democracy. Like, ostensibly. It's not a very good one, but they don't have one.
I want to still stay on the point of China being capitalist. Like,
they are by every definition capitalist.
If China, more specifically, I want to stay on the point that the CPC is somehow a capitalist.
The CCP?
I will grant you that China has a lot of capitalist mode of production. It's a very complicated situation. It's got like a mix of socialist mode of production in certain sectors and capitalist mode of production in other.
Wait. What socialist modes of production does it have?
The state
state ownership isn't socialism.
If the workers themselves they have a say in the running of the enterprise.
How do the workers have a say in the running of any of the state-owned enterprises in an unelected dictatorship?
No, it's not unelected. It may not be as like formally democratic as the United States, but it's not like completely unelected. How
do they have a say? What decommodified industry has the input of the workers functionally running that industry?
Well, you do realize that China has like some of the largest cooperatives in the world. I can't list off any names, but it has a very large cooperative sector.
Okay, but what does that have to do with state ownership? That's what you used as an example of socialist production.
I used two examples. The state-owned enterprises are themselves like cooperatives.
Okay, I would need a heavy source on that. So you're saying that these state-owned industries are left entirely to the discretion of the workers? They aren't in any way, shape, or form beholden to the state's interests?
Not entirely, no. No.
Okay, so it's like a co-op, except you have a CEO and his name is Xi. Is that correct?
Yeah, but Xi himself is elected through delegation.
Xi is president for life, or he's been looking at it. He's elected through a delegation of party bureaucrats.
The bureaucrats themselves are delegated from lower level Soviets, who themselves are finally voted on by the entirety of the Chinese people.
In a one-party system where each member is hand-selected or approved by the existing party. That's not democracy.
I'm not going to say that it's not. It's like more democratic than the United States.
It's just not democratic. It's not. It is by definition not a democracy when only one party can run and that party picks who gets to run.
By whose definition?
Because then there's no choice. You only choose people the state is comfortable with you choosing. How can you enforce radical change if it's impossible to elect officials who oppose the interest of the state? I can't believe I hear this from leftists. Why?
How do you explain then the approval ratings of the Chinese people for their own
Hitler
state?
had skyrocketing approval ratings during the height of his regime. That's irrelevant.
Well, how long did Hitler's approval ratings last? I mean, the approval ratings in China, they
pretty fucking high until the Nazi regime fell. I promise you. Approval ratings are irrelevant. People have high approval. Fucking Trump got elected on Make America Great Again because a bunch of boomers want to go back to living in. Trump's approval rating within the Republican Party, his party, is massive. In China, there is only one party. So yes,
in order to make, I'm not talking about approval ratings just within the Chinese Communist Party. I'm talking about approval ratings as measured by like Gallup.
There's only one party.
Chinese people.
I can't believe this. This is insane. You're a leftist and you're defending the authenticity of approval ratings in an autocratic society where people are imprisoned for opposing the state. Do you think there might be a little bit of a pressure on people to not oppose the state or express dislike? Do you think there aren't propaganda mills running out in their countries to tell everyone how great their country is?
There's going to be propaganda mills in every single society, including like any society.
No, here in America, we all fucking hate our elected representatives. We hate everyone in Congress and everyone in the Senate because that's our God-given right to fucking despise our government. But in glorious People's Comrade Proletarian Republic of China, nope, you have to fucking adore the state that you live in because dissent is disincentivized in every conceivable sense. How can you call yourself a leftist when you're defending an authoritarian state with a president for life and you're defending its approval?
What about the 20%? What about the 20% of people that don't like the state then? If China is as totalitarian and authoritarian as you say, why isn't the approval rating like what 100%?
It has to be 100% for it to be authoritarian? I'm not arguing the approval rating.
I'm not China's not authoritarian. I'm asking you to prove that it's not a democracy.
I'm not arguing it's not a democracy. You were the one who tried to use. Wait, hold on. You were the one who tried to use approval ratings as an indicator for whether or not it's a democracy. It's irrelevant. Adolf Hitler had a high approval rating in a non-democratic society. Fascist governments right now, what's happening right now in Hungary and Poland, very high approval ratings for the fascists that are taking prominence. Democracy and approval ratings have nothing to do with one another.
What fundamentally would you describe as democracy? Because I see it as if it's ruled by the people, then it's democracy. If the people are agreeing
President for life.
If the people are agreeing with the president for life, then it's democracy.
No, what? People agreed with Hitler. This is insane. You're literally just a fascist.
You have to face
You're
the
a
fact
fascist painted red. Do you realize that? You're defending populist rule of an authoritarian leader and saying that as long as they're representing the will of the people, that their rule is valid. This is identical to fascism.
I would describe Hitler's Germany as mob rule, authoritarian democracies.
You think Hitler was an authoritarian democracy?
Yes, like a mob.
I'm sorry. I'm using the actual definition of words. I'm sorry. I didn't clarify. I'm not using fake definitions for words. No, Hitler's rule was not a democracy. So just so you know, I hope you don't have any school tests like coming up where you have to like correct that. I'm giving you the chance now in case you have to write down, was Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime a democracy? And you'd write yes, because people liked him.
What definition of democracy are you using?
How about we just Google it? A system of government by the whole representation or all the eligible members of state, typically through elected representatives, a state governed by a democracy, control of an organization or group by the majority of its members.
So if the majority of the people agree with a policy, even if that policy is heinous, like Hitler's policies were.
Holy shit! You need to understand, you're not a leftist and you're not a socialist. Why is it every time I talk with tankies, they never want to talk? Wait, hold on. Wait, I'm asking you. I'm very interested in you. I don't care about China. I don't care about China. I care about you.
But I deeply do not appreciate Vaush.
I care about you. Okay, I care about you. I'm really interested.
Then don't call me a red fascist, and don't deny that. Don't call me not a leftist.
You aren't, and you are. You are a fascist, and you are not a leftist, my friend.
Then you're a CIA imperialist. You're a fucking CIA agent. How would you like it if I called you that?
This is what happens every time I talk to you people. We get 15 minutes in, and then you guys start literally defending totalitarianism, and none of our conversations have anything to do with the workers.
I just recognize it for what it is. What Hitler did was absolutely awful.
So Hitler was a democratic.
Democracy can be misled.
What?
Do you think a democracy can never do anything wrong? Do you think it can't be evil? It can't do wrong?
I live in America. What are you talking about? What does this have to do with what we're talking about?
Because you said earlier, it seems like you're saying that like you can't have authoritarian or evil democracies. Like
no, I never said. Wait. Authoritarian and evil aren't the same thing.
No, I know they're not the same thing. But you seem to say that you can't have. Is your position that we can't have? There can never be like definitionally there can't be authoritarian democracies.
Yes.
What would you consider a mob then? Like mob rule. Like if you go all the way back to Aristotle, like the discussions.
I'm sorry. I can't discuss like half-baked political theory with somebody who's unironically arguing that Nazi Germany was a democracy. Okay, I can't do it. I can't follow you down that road, my dude. You sound? By the way, you're really bringing about the vanguard. I hope other Americans can hear this. Like socialists saying that Hitler was a democracy. I hope they're really going to be convinced by this one.
Launching into attacks again.
I'm not attacking you as a person. I'm attacking your horrible ideas.
The person when you say that I have like half-baked ideas and you refuse to have a discussion.
Your ideas. Yes, I'm attacking your ideas, and I'm having a discussion on your ideas right now. By the way,
but you're not. But you just said earlier that You just said like a few seconds ago that you wouldn't have a discussion with me because my ideas were half-baked.
Yeah, okay, yes. Wait. Okay, yes. I don't argue with lunacy and conspiracy theory, and the argument that the Fuhrer of the Third Reich was a democratic regime is not an argument I'm capable of entertaining.
Are you saying that I'm a lunatic then? Like,
You have standards that I can't meet. I can't get to your
arguing that
definition
thing?
here. It's not within my... I can't get at it. Here, do you want me to... How about we settle this in a definition, okay? I can Google, was Nazi Germany democratic? And whether or not Google says yes or no, can we put an end to this? Can we settle it on that? No. Okay.
All right, fine.
So
then let's discard the term democracy, because let's just say that a majority of the people agreed with what Hitler was doing. Can we agree on that?
I guess, yeah. Yeah,
Can we also agree
maybe. I'm going to say maybe. I don't know that for a fact, but probably like a large majority of them eventually did, yeah.
Because that was essentially what like the definition I was using for democracy. But we'll set aside that discussion. Do you believe that a majority of the people agree with what the central government of China is doing? A majority of Chinese people.
Just judging by the approval rating, sure.
Okay.
That I don't care. So wow, so China meets the same threshold of legitimacy as Nazi Germany, because they both had high approval ratings. We've really come a long way to defending China so far.
Well, then in that case, America wouldn't even meet that threshold of legitimacy as the Nazis.
Because I don't think approval ratings are a valid way of determining how good or just a society is.
I don't think it has anything to do with like how just the society is, because you can have everybody approving awful, evil acts. I'm just trying to say how much the society itself reflects the will of the people.
Yeah, but the will of the people can be manufactured, as it often is.
I agree. I do agree that the will of the people can be manufactured.
Okay. And if the will of the people was being represented in Nazi Germany, at least to an extent, what we can probably determine then is that both approval ratings and the will of the people have literally nothing to do with what type of government is being run or how well that government is being run.
I think that I think that you can't have a poorly running government and still have high approval ratings.
Okay, then you are engaging in Nazi apologia.
Wait, no. Because when the Nazis actually started like fucking up and doing when they started doing World War II, their approval ratings dropped because they weren't running society even like marginally correctly then.
So you were fine with how they were being run before then?
They had to hide all the crap that they were doing, and once that stuff kind of started coming,
you're actually just doing Nazi. It wasn't hidden. People knew that Jews were being abducted from their homes.
They didn't know the extent, did they? I mean, I might be wrong on this.
Okay. So the approval rating is fine as long as they're just being deported. But if they didn't specifically know they were being burned to death... Are you
trying to somehow say that I'm okay with with what the Nazis were doing?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You're defending them.
I'm not defending them. I'm describing what they were like.
Yeah, and what you're doing is you're saying that because the approval ratings were high, that is in some way a marker of approval for the nature of Nazi Germany.
Approval from their own people, like if the German people,
I don't care if the people approve of it.
If the people of Germany knew that Jewish people were being abducted, then that's basically like a stain on the German, like I guess their record. Then
what does that have to do with my point? Is approval rating a valid or invalid way of determining the democratic will or the worth of a society?
I thought we were tabling the democratic discussion entirely.
No, because you're the one who brought that up again. I don't care about people's support. None of this has anything to do with how good of a country China is.
I didn't bring up democracy again. You were the one that just brought it up right then.
Yeah, I like democracy.
I thought we agreed to table the discussion on what democracy was.
Why are we talking about Germany again? I thought you were just making the argument that because the approval rating was higher early on, that was an indicator that the Nazis were doing a good job running the government.
Not a good job. Like, it's an indicator that the people thought that they were doing.
Okay, but I don't care what the people want in approval ratings. I care what is good and just. People support fascists all the time.
They support fascists so long as the fascists give them something like to in compensation.
No, all fascists need is the knowledge that their national unity is going to be restored. You don't need to provide anything for the average person to get them to want to vote for a fascist.
I don't think it's that simple. Like you can't feed and you can't clothe people just on these feelings of national unity. You actually have to provide something.
You literally can. Yeah, fascist uprisings are predicated on hate and xenophobia, not on fucking economic policy.
The uprising itself, sure, the uprising itself might be predicated on those feelings, but if they were to become as long lasting as the Nazis were, they had to at least do something to like win over the rest of the population.
Yeah, like a war. What does this have to do with China?
Well, honestly, like at this point, you were like basically accusing me of fascist apologia. So
you still are. Yeah, 100%. Will of the people, approval ratings justifying a country, democracy doesn't matter. Hitler's Germany was democratic. Yeah, you still are.
I don't care if 100% of the country agree on something. If that thing itself is wrong inherently, then it's still wrong.
Then why did you use the approval rating of Xi Jinping as an argument in favor of the democratic nature of China?
So if we're going all the way back to
you want to back off that one?
If we're going all the way back to the conversation like an hour ago or however long we've been having this conversation, I would say that the people of China approve of what she is doing.
Okay. And as we've established, that doesn't matter.
And matter for what? For matter towards.
In what way do you think that's relevant?
I don't think that the government of China can be like fucking over vast majorities of the people, just screwing them, and still maintain high approval ratings. I think they have to be doing something for the 80% of the people that are approving of what the government is doing.
You actually, do you believe in democracy, like as a concept?
I do believe in, well, I don't think we've agreed on what democracy is, but
yeah,
I do
apparently not. If you think Hitler was a democratic leader,
I think that policy should reflect the will of the people.
That is fascist language right there.
How's that fascist?
The myth of the will of the people is a fascist myth. There is no such thing as the will of the people. There's no such thing.
Shorthand for talking about majorities, like majority opinions.
Who gives a fuck about majority opinions? What about should we bring back slavery in the U.S.?
That's not a majority opinion in the US.
But back when slavery was abolished, it was. The majority of the people in the North were not abolitionists.
Then this is one example of democracy going wrong, or majoritarianism going wrong. I don't agree with majorities.
Then why do you keep invoking populism as a defense of the behavior of the Chinese government?
Because it's not just the Chinese government then.
No, that's all I want to talk about. I don't care about the Chinese people. I'm sure they're all wonderful people, all 1.6 billion of them.
But how can you say that they're wonderful people if 80% of them approve of what the government is doing?
Because half of America approves of what, or like I guess like 38% or something.
It's a very low. It's a much lower approval rating. And if we're
because we have a two-party system that doesn't ruthlessly propagandize the same way their one-party system does theirs. We don't have a social credit system. We don't arrest political dissenters.
Propaganda system like China's propaganda system it's very crude. America's propaganda system is far more sophisticated.
That is not true. Why do you keep infantilizing them?
What do you mean infantilizing them?
China is a nation perfectly capable of propagandizing to their own people. They have an enormous amount of wealth and power.
No, they're not very good at propaganda.
They literally have a firewall across the entirety of the internet. They arrest political dissidents, and they have social programs designed to impugn people for engaging in behavior that opposes the state.
That is awful propaganda that looks terrible to people outside of China, and within China it looks terrible because the Chinese people know about the firewall and they know about the problem with the distance and they don't like it.
And
it's my point is that it's bad propaganda. Chinese propaganda is actually
holy fuck. So because there are some people in China who recognize that there's propaganda in their country, that doesn't mean that propaganda doesn't exist or that it's not effective.
it's not nearly as effective as the U.S. as the American propaganda model.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna need to level with you, okay? I don't give a fuck about approval ratings. They don't indicate what you seem to think they indicate. You can have high approval ratings if you're a horribly incompetent administration. You can have high approval ratings because you've been propagandized and believing there's no better alternative. I'm pretty sure if we go to North Korea, they also have very high approval ratings for their quote unquote like elected representatives. It doesn't mean anything to me. What I care about is the Chinese government doing what it can to facilitate the development of a proletarian state while respecting human rights within its borders? That is what I care about. The answer to this is no. We have gotten caught up in this obsequious argument over approval ratings, over which you have defended populist or fascist rhetoric about the will of the people and argued that something like the Third Reich could be democratic, which indicates to me that your understanding of democracy and of populism are both ones which are easily misled by authoritarian governments. So I have to ask you again.
Okay, if you don't want to have the debate over democracy, then let's not have the debate over democracy, but don't like bring it up and then try to pivot to some other point.
I didn't pivot. You were factually wrong. We Googled and we literally just went off definitions that we Googled.
Google actually agreed with my definition because it said majority opinion.
No, it did. Oh, okay, we can Google it again.
The last part of the Google definition talked about majority opinion.
A control of an organization or a group by the majority of its members. An organization or a group by the majority of its members. How the fuck do the Chinese people have control over the CCP?
Through their elections, through their votes.
Except the CCP picks the candidates.
So the Chinese people
that breaks it right there.
The Chinese people still vote on the candidates.
Yeah, on candidates chosen by the majority power holders. You don't have any control then.
They how can you say that?
This is incredible. What is freedom? Freedom is when you can do whatever you want to do. Wait. Freedom is when you can do whatever.
What you consider to be free. Do you consider the U.S. elections to be free and open and fair?
Much more so than China's. You kidding me? Yeah.
How so? When the system itself is pretty much completely controlled by the two-party duopoly.
Because we can choose we can vote for our own people. We can choose our own candidates. Anyone can run.
Anyone can run. Nobody can win though. Like when was the last?
Holy shit! I can't. This is insane. A 1.6 billion person country where the dictator for life and the party he controls picks out who you're allowed to vote for is the same as a country that just has an embedded two-party system. Is that the position that you want to take?
No.
Okay, then I'm going to need you to rephrase the dumbass shit that you just said, because that is exactly what you said, but I'm sure you mean something less stupid. Of course, America's democracy has problems. We have an embedded two-party system. First past the post doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. But there's a reason why we are meteorically higher in the democracy index than China is, because we pick our own candidates.
Yet America's system does not reflect even like a significant minority of the people.
What?
Because the approval ratings in Congress.
We just went over this. God, low approval ratings can be a good thing because it means there's healthy civil discourse as to whether or not we approve of what our elected officials are doing. The freedom to disagree with the people in power is one of the most important things we have, a thing a Chinese worker wouldn't have.
If the people in power actually controlled and selected by the people, the American people, there could be no way that the approval ratings would be so low.
Yes, there can be. Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how democracy works? People in America have different opinions. Even if the best possible candidates were elected, there would still be healthy and robust disagreement. You don't care about democracy. The idea of does the idea of citizens disagreeing with their state make you uncomfortable?
Disagreement to the point where approval ratings are in the single digits, where disapproval ratings are astronomical.
Yeah, great. Then they can elect them out next time. They can fucking vote them out next time. Yeah.
But it's always like this. The approval ratings are always low in America. It's like you never get a president or a Congress that actually has high approval ratings.
Good. That means people are free to engage in a civic discourse of healthy disagreement.
It's not democratic, and the people don't control it.
No, it's still democratic. Wait, I hope you realize low approval ratings. I know you don't know anything about political economy, but low approval ratings can be a sign of healthy discourse.
Don't assume my own ignorance.
Okay, I'm going to need you to tone it down a little bit.
Right on stream.
I'm going to need you to tone it down just a little bit, okay?
You're going to tell me to tone it down when you're insulting me by talking about by assuming my own ignorance? Why don't you tone it down?
Well, I think that I've actually treated you in pretty good faith, considering the fact that I'm literally talking to a fascist who just appropriates socialist rhetoric.
I think you're treating me in quite bad faith. And I think you know you're treating me in quite bad faith. And I think you know you are being actively dishonest.
Okay, so let's review the entirety of the conversation. We have come to agree that approval ratings are not necessarily an indication of how well the government is representing the people or how good the government is, yet you keep jumping to that. We have agreed that democracy is a valuable thing, but you've expanded the definition of democracy so far that it includes all authoritarian leaders who are approved of by the people, essentially meaning the only governments that haven't been democratic historically are the ones of kings and emperors who failed so badly to keep their people fed that they were overthrown by revolt. Everything else is democratic to you. And now when we're talking about the relative levels of democracy in China and America, in spite of the fact that China does not allow people to vote in their own elected officials, meaning that the party in power chooses who gets to be in power, which means that people don't actually have any choice in anything because you're only choosing from a pre-selected list of approved candidates, you're arguing that actually America's democracy is worse because it has lower approval ratings, which, as we already agreed, is not a representative of anything. So I would actually argue that you are the one engaging in bad faith. You understand that your arguments are indefensible, so you are running around in circles. We have been talking now for what must have been at least 40 minutes, and we have barely actually talked about anything regarding socialism in China. The most you were able to offer me is that there are co-ops that are actually beholden to the state power, which means they're not a co-op. It's not a co-op if you have a fucking CEO at the top of it who isn't elected. As always, you have utterly failed to substantiate.
The CEO is literally elected through the election process in China.
Oh, I'm sorry. Xi Jinping is elected.
It may not have as many formal liberties as the election process in the United States, but the Chinese Communist Party itself is a communist party who looks out for the interests of the working class.
Yeah. This is what I hear from fascists. Yeah.
Party lifted out 800 million people out of poverty.
That's what I hear from capitalists and neolibs.
The working class in China has quadrupled over the last decade.
I hear this from neolibs. Yeah. And Latin America has had a massive increase in the number of working class people too. You're like a neolib, dude. Yeah, wow. Capital investment increases the wealth of a society. Holy shit.
Actually has unions that it has like a labor movement. But you also want to say that China crushes independent unions and crushes independent labor.
It literally does.
Where is this drive to raise the wages and living standards of the Chinese people?
So what you're trying to do but failing to do is called a Gish Gallop. Normally a Gish Gallop only works if your points aren't so stupid.
When you just a few minutes ago
I was reviewing our points.
2 or 3 minutes reviewing.
That's not a Gish Gallop. Gish Gallop is when you make new arguments. I was just going over the ones we had already made. You just made a bunch of new arguments. We can go over them point by point. So lifting people out of poverty, that's a neolib thing, my dude. China's a capitalist economy. The capital markets are what lifted people out of poverty. If you want to praise Xi Jinping for being a capitalist, then that's your thing, my dude.
People out of poverty, unless there is also a robust labor movement to take some of the gains in productivity and transfer it into the working class. If there is no labor movement, all the gains in productivity go straight to the ruling class.
Damn, it's a shame that China's average wage for working class people is lower than those of neighboring countries. That kind of sucks for your argument then. That looks like the most powerful proletarian state in the world. What's the next excuse?
China was 50 years ago one of the poorest countries.
Unlike the other countries around China. Oh, those countries.
What country? What comparison?
Vietnam. Vietnam is a higher. Broadly across the standard. Yeah, despite being weaker, poor, and having been subjected to invasion much more recently. Yeah. Vietnam has been subjected to far worse treatment than China. But China, sorry guys, worse wages, worse treatment, lower protections, no independent labor union formations. Must suck.
How do you explain the massive increases in Chinese real wages then?
Oh, through capitalism.
Capitalism all by itself without independent unions, without a labor movement?
Yeah, worked in America. Yeah. Maybe they're taking the America path. Maybe we could call China America too.
America had a labor movement.
So America is socialist because we have labor movements and such?
No. We're not talking about whether America is socialist. We're talking about whether America can raise wages without having any sort of left, without having a labor movement, without having labor power. You're saying that China has no labor power, yet somehow capitalism all by itself raises wages.
Yeah, it does. It literally does by definition. Yeah, that is what capitalism does. Yeah. You know
You bring
why?
up America as an example of
You know why?
capitalism all by
Because
itself
China
without
is
any
no
reason.
longer the exploited nation. It's the exploiter nation. With what it's
Who is
doing
it?
right now in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America, China is on path to become the new United States of
Can
America.
you prove that there? Can you prove that the value transfers between China, Southeast Asia, and Africa are unequal? Can you prove that?
Oh, so you're actually okay with economic imperialism of capitalist
Can you
countries?
prove that there's imperialism that China's doing?
Going to foreign countries and investing in their capital markets so you can get your businesses up and running in foreign nations that you know have a lower average wage so you can take advantage of their lower labor standards? Holy shit, dude. I take it back. You're not a fascist. Hello, welcome, brother. Welcome, fellow capitalist. Hello, how you doing? You're insane. How do I keep having these arguments? Honestly, I could be playing a video game right now.
Do you ignore the massive amounts of foreign aid that China gives to these countries that are industrializing?
America gives out a fuck ton of foreign aid. Yeah, socialist America. There's nothing you can say.
How much foreign aid does America give to Africa versus how much it extracts? How much aid does it give to Africa versus how much does it extract in the form of profits?
Oh, what relevance is this?
You have to be able to do that calculation if you want to claim that China or America is being imperialist.
Wait, so imperialism doesn't just mean economic investment to take advantage of the labor standards in that country. It also means if you also donate money, you no longer
exploitation. Imperialism is a relation of exploitation between one country and another. It is the relation
and
of
modern neo-colonialism is capital investment.
Imperialism is the relation of exploitation between countries that also exists. It's the same relation that exists between countries as it exists between classes.
Yet neo-colonialism is capital market investment. They invest. That's what they do. You put money in so you can get money out. Also, foreign aid is a tool of imperialism.
You put money in, you can get more money out than you put in. That's imperialism because it's exploitation.
Yeah, that's why it's called an investment. Do you know what an investment means? You put in an amount of money now so you get more out later. Do you know what any of these terms mean?
That's literally exploitation. That is what exploitation is.
That's what they're doing.
Exploitation. That's how you have exploitation, dude. That's the same process.
I agree.
Between capitalists and labor. Putting money in to get more money out of the worker.
Yes, I agree. And capitalist China is doing that in countries that we haven't invested in substantially enough. They're doing better than us right now at capitalism.
No, they're not doing.
Yeah, they are. They're doing capital investments in growing labor markets. Dude, you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Why are you wasting your time on this conversation?
I haven't been assuming your own ignorance, despite the fact you've been showing your massive fucking ignorance. So do not assume my ignorance.
On what subject have I been ignorant?
Pretty much every single fucking topic we've been discussing. This is theory, history, politics, economics.
I feel like Tankie's. What specific points? What specifically did I get wrong?
You want to project and claim ignorance on me.
What specifically did I get wrong? Give me a specific point that I was factually incorrect on.
Your claim that China is imperialist, but despite the fact.
Wait, hold on. So do you recognize that imperialism means in large part extracting resources?
Not in large part. We're not talking about in large part. We're talking about the definition of imperialism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Wait, hold on. I know you're really angry, but you have to let me finish the question before you can answer it incorrectly. So when you're an imperialist country,
you're going to criticize me for being angry when you then dishonestly say that I'm going to answer it incorrectly?
Yes. Well, you will. Do you want to prove me wrong?
No, I have no interest in proving you wrong when you're being dishonest. When you make such a dishonest and bad faith claim.
So do you acquiesce to the fact that your answer would have been factually incorrect?
So you hear the tone in that voice. You know you're being dishonest.
Wait. Just to clarify it, because I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. I'm not being dishonest. You're just stupid, and it's funny. But if you want, we can go over these more carefully. We can go over everything because you're wrong on everything. Notice how we backed off China broadly because you were wrong on everything you had to say there. You are
gaslighting at this moment. So let's go back all the way to China. Let's not leave China until we come to a conclusion. Because you seem to want to misrepresent the narrative of this entire discussion because you are a dishonest, lying,
points, not grandstanding arguments. What's the argument?
You're going to talk about grandstanding when you make criticisms about my character.
Yeah, because you're fucking stupid and you give socialists a bad name. Stop.
Your bad faith lying criticisms of my character. Then you want to return to the arguments. Why can't you ever stay still, dude? Why do you keep on pivoting?
What argument do you want to get to? If we want to have my fans go over the VOD after this, they'll find every change in topic has been on account of you. Every single one of them.
And I think that if we went back over the topic, they'll find that every single change in topic has been on you.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess they're biased because they're my fans, but we can have them go over it. I mean, I don't know.
All right, and I can also go over the VODs, the chat logs, and we can see who's been changing the topics.
Okay, so just so you know, the reason why I don't need to change topics is because I know I'm right, so I can stick to any one of them. But if you want to be more specific, to finish this point, imperialism is the extraction of wealth and resources from a, I guess you could say, colonized land. That is what China is doing. Neo-colonialism, or neo-imperialism, is investment through capital markets, which is what China is doing. They aren't just giving money to Africa, they're setting up business
This trade
deals.
is all trade imperialism.
Yes. Are you a socialist? Between a massively powerful
value.
Yeah.
Even where China gives $50 billion to Africa in terms of value, and Africa gives $50 billion in terms of value to China, where the trade.
That's what an investment is. That's what an investment is. Yeah, it'll grow with time. And trade is, the #1 weapon of imperialism. How do you think America's been doing it?
Equal trade, fair trade is imperialism.
Do you know what an investment means? They only started investing in Africa.
China gave $10 billion to Africa, but then what if China gave $10 billion to Africa, but then Africa gave like $5 billion?
Nobody's giving money. What do you think trade is?
I'm not talking about giving. I'm talking about the flow of value from one country to another. I'm not talking about giving in the sense of it's free aid or mutual aid or something like that. It's not charity. Let's just say a transfer of value. Value as in the Marxist sense.
Okay, and that has nothing to do with whether or not it's imperialist.
It has everything to do with whether or not it's imperialist.
You don't know what imperialism means. Can we move to a topic you're more familiar with? I can't believe I'm listening to a socialist say that investment in trade markets isn't a form of colonialism.
You're on the discussion of imperialism until one of us concedes, not when you try to project and pretend like I don't know what I'm talking about. Because you don't know,
How am I the one who gets accused of not knowing anything about theory, and now I'm arguing with you and you're like, well, as long as the trade is equal, a massive geopolitical power investing in developing nations isn't a form of imperialism. Bro, that's how America's been doing it for a century.
Vaush, why did you try to move the discussion then? Why did you try to move the discussion?
Wait, when did I move the discussion? When I asked you if you'd rather move on because you don't know what you're talking about?
Okay, so let me rewind to what you just said a few seconds ago. You said, let's move on to another topic because you clearly don't know what you're talking about this topic. So let's move on to another topic where you know what you're talking about. What were you trying to do?
I'm just waiting to hear an actual argument from you because it's painfully obvious that you've just consumed a fuck ton of propaganda from like white boy socialist daddies here in the West and that you've no idea what any of these things are or mean. It's actually crazy to me.
If you wanted me to make an argument, I was in the middle of making an argument, and then you interrupted me by saying, "Let's move the conversation to a topic that you know of."
Can I ask you a yes or no question?
No, we're not moving the discussion.
It's not moving it. I'm actually trying to just finish this one so we can go back to whatever next stupid thing we're going to argue about, okay? Can I just ask you a yes or no question? It's not...
No, you can't ask me a yes or no question because
you can't stop me, motherfucker. This is a democracy. This is America. If we were in China, maybe you say I couldn't, but here in America...
You're not interested in having a discussion, Vaush. You just want to control and dominate the discourse.
Here's the question, okay?
You're not interested in having a discussion.
Can trade be...
You interrupt me.
Can trade be a form of imperialism?
Yes, trade can be exploitation and thus imperialism.
Okay.
Especially.
So can investment in developing nations be a way for larger countries to engage in imperialism?
It can be, but not always.
Okay. So do you think that in an investment, just because at this point in time, the import and export of resources are roughly equivalent, that means there's no economic exploitation taking place?
It's not just a matter of import or exports. You have to look at all the value transfers going on between two countries.
Was the Marshall Plan imperialism?
The Marshall Plan in and of itself, no, I would not consider it. Actually,
okay.
I'm not clear with the details of the Marshall Plan. If it was actually like
the Marshall Plan was the United States with absolute pro bono, giving billions of dollars, which at that time was a fuckload more than billions, to countries that were recovering in Western Europe.
Now,
and the reason they did it in large part was to help them rebuild and to incentivize their alignment with America over the communist states following World War II.
Now, did the Marshall Plan have to be repaid, or
nope.
Was there an interest? Then I wouldn't consider it imperialism.
Okay, you're not a leftist.
How's that? Why is that?
The Marshall Plan was literally a foreign policy vehicle for the United States of America to assert its geopolitical interests on the continent.
I don't consider like asserting geopolitical interest to be a form of imperialism in and of itself.
Holy shit. Okay.
Imperialism has to be an economic relation. It's about the transfer of value.
It was, because keeping those countries in the Western Bloc ended up being economically prosperous to the U.S.
Yes, but that's not imperialism by definition, though. You can keep countries within your sphere of influence. You can influence them. You can even benefit from that relation without it being imperialism.
Imperialism, a policy of extending a country's power and influence through diplomacy or military force. As of Google, do you want to move on to the next point?
I'm not using the.
Oh, I know you're not using the actual definition, buddy, but I actually do use the real definition. So we're gonna have to use this one if we want to have a conversation.
Okay, why is Google the real definition?
What can provide me a source that extends your definition, where it's only economic and it only takes place if there isn't an equitable transfer of resources? Give me a definition right now. Any source.
Oh, wait, can you repeat what you just said?
Your definition of imperialism is one that is only economic from a dominant to a lesser power, and it only takes place if the dominant power is extracting more wealth than they're putting into that country. Give me a definition of imperialism that includes only that and nothing else, because that is the definition you're using. Any definition. I'll even take a YouTube video so I can know what brain-dead troglodyte fed you this trash.
Vladimir Lenin, imperialism, the highest stage of
Give me a passage.
I don't have a passage on hand.
Okay, so Vladimir Lenin said imperialism is only an economic transfer where a larger power extracts more material wealth from a smaller power. That's what Vladimir Lenin said about imperialism. Or do you think that if I went back to that, I would find you're actually full of shit? Have you read State and the Revolution?
Not State and the Revolution. It's imperialism, highest stage of capitalism.
Okay. Lenin would have called what I am describing imperialism.
No, because what you described was just simply a transfer of power. Like,
I can't believe I get called theory ignorant by these people. I can't believe it. I can't do this. I can't believe it. These are the people who go online and tell me that I don't read theory.
Are you done?
It's just insane to me.
Are you done? Because Lenin explicitly talks about imperialism being financial markets and investments, not the transfer of, not solely like the transfer of power, which what your Google definition is, what your Wikipedia definition gave, would be just simply like if one country exerts power on another country.
So in the highest stage of capitalism, Lenin describes the function of financial capital in generating profits from imperialist colonialism as the final stage of capitalist development to ensure greater profits. So he doesn't mention anything about there being an unequitable transfer of resources, only that investment through capital is being done to further financial interests.
When Lenin uses capital, do you know what he means by capital?
I know what capital means.
Do you know what can you give
in
me
the Marxist sense, wealth that is used to replicate the production of the means of production?
It's money making. It's wealth creating more wealth. It's
I just said that, except in more Marxist terminology. But yeah.
No, it's money making more money. It's M to M.
It's not money making more money. If you spend $5 on a lottery ticket and you make back $2,000, that's not capital. It's money, or it's capital that you can reinvest into the production of means production.
Capital. There's industrial capital. There's also financial capital. There's also capital in the form of rent. There's also capital in the form of interest.
Are you a psyop? Are you sent here by the CIA? Are you here to make me kill myself? So Lenin's definition of imperialism does not say that the only types of imperialism are one where there is an inequitable transfer of resources. Only that capital finance is used to bolster the wealth of the nation.
Capital, by definition, is an unequal transfer of resources.
No, it's not! That's not what capital means! Find me a definition of capital that has the word unequal in it, at any point. Find me any definition from any source, any book, any YouTube video. You can scrawl it in shit on a napkin, and I will take that as a source.
One of Das Kapital.
Find me the quote. You're wrong. You were just wrong about Lenin. You're wrong about everything. I'm not fucking quote mining with you.
Have you heard of the term circuit of capital?
Have you read Capital?
I've read Capital. Have you read Capital?
Of course I haven't read Capital. Are you fucking crazing me? Are you kidding me?
You haven't read Capital.
Well, you apparently have read Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, and your definition of it was wrong. So...
Wait, no.
Nothing about Lenin's definition says there has to be an unequitable distribution of resources. He only said that you would seek to profit from it. China is profiting from their investments in Africa and Latin America. That is why they're doing it.
We are arguing whether or not my definition of
Chinese businesses are investing in developing countries to make money off their labor markets.
Oh, shit. Okay, so you just want to control the. Okay, are you done? Can I speak?
I actually no. I think you're actually about to win this discussion because I don't think I can take you. I just need you to answer this, okay? Just this. If you can beat me on this, you win, okay? This is it. It's the final. Right. We're in death match, okay? All right? Listen. Okay, listen. If China is using its private enterprise to financially invest in developing countries to take advantage of their capital and labor markets, does that not match the definition of imperialism as said by Vladimir Lenin, which described it as financial capital in generating profits from imperialist colonialism as the final stage of capitalist development to ensure greater profits? So to clarify, China is seeking greater profits by investing in the labor and business markets of foreign countries to make money off their assets.
If the only economic transfer between China and other countries were just this profit extraction, then yes, it would be imperialism. But that is not the only economic transfer that is going on between China and other countries.
All right, so imperialism is fine as long as you do other things that aren't imperialism.
Well, it's like...
Yeah, no, wait, hold on. You're actually insane, and I'm okay with you being banned from my Discord. Fuck off. Holy shit, that dude I think is actually insane. This is every tankie I talk to, dude. Every single one of these fucking trolls in the Twitter comments or YouTube, they're like, Vaush could never actually stand up to a real leftist who understands real. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, that guy, fucking Nazi apologia, fascist apologia, anti-democracy, no understanding of anything he talked about, just posturing everything he said. Fuck. I know he's young, but I was young once too. I was never that bad. That guy's not a socialist. If you see anything about yourself in that person, you are not a socialist. I'm really sorry. Oh my God. I can't. Could you elaborate on how foreign investment is imperialism? Yeah, it's really easy. This is how America has been doing it for a century now. The days of just invading like colonies is gone now. This isn't the fucking 1800s. Modern neo-colonialism is massive countries investing in the capital markets of developing countries, using things like the IMF and the World Bank to try and streamline their political and economic systems in a way that maximize our profits, to keep their wages low, to keep their labor rights low, so we can do everything we can to profit off it. This is basic 101 stuff. This is not hardcore leftist theory. And these are the people who say that I don't know shit about theory. I take it all back. Are you ready? We're doing a change in the fucking paradigm right now, okay? Are you fucking ready for it? Are you fucking ready for it? Okay? I have actually read all theory. Spread the word. I have read all theory, okay? So now these dumb fucking lunatic piece of shit LARPer tankie troglodytes can continue to impugn me for not having read theory that I know for a fact that they haven't read either, okay? That's it. I've read every theory. All theory by everyone, okay? All theory. Say that from now on, when people are like, well, Vaush doesn't read theory. No, that's not the story anymore. I have read all theory, okay? So now when these motherfuckers come in here and they're like, well, Marx said capital is only capital when it's uneven. Lenin said imperialism is only when there's you don't do things that aren't imperialism. Then I can just say like, nope, I've read it. I've read that exact book. That's the new story, okay? Holy shit, Default just messaged me. If you want to restart the conversation and try not to be such a dishonest, bad faith actor, I'm ready whenever you are. Oh, I get baited so easily. But I know exactly what would happen. Okay.
I would really appreciate it if you didn't just insult me.
Have you gotten new marching orders from whatever CIA agent is feeding you all this disinfo?
I could say the same about you, Vaush.
You don't know what imperialism was, what capital was, what democracy, what approval ratings implied.
We were in the middle of having that discussion over.
Listen, you have to understand, okay? My ability to engage in a discussion relies on a shared presumption of basic terminology. If your definitions are factually wrong and you won't move over on them, there's nothing I can do to have a conversation on that issue specifically.
It seems like when I heard you give your little rundown of what of the debate after you disconnected, it sounds like we share pretty similar definitions.
I can't go over it again. You don't know what imperialism is.
I do know what imperialism is.
You realize that what we're talking about isn't even like theory. Like the definition of imperialism, and this is supported both through like neo-colonial, like intersectional studies, and by Vladimir Lenin, includes what China is doing. Why can't you just accept the fact that China is a capitalist, imperialist, authoritarian state, and then try to?
That's entirely the point.
Then I can't argue with delusional people. I can't.
If you just want to disagree for the sake of, like, if you can't have it, if you don't have an argument, fine, we can move on to something.
The whole time has been me giving you arguments.
And the whole time it's been me addressing those arguments.
Dude, are you really that delusional? How old are you?
When you start accusing me of delusion, how
old are you?
I said earlier.
How old are you?
If you would want to,
how old are you?
You would continue this conversation without being a dishonest, bad faith actor, but then here you are accusing me of delusion.
How old are you?
I haven't been accusing you of any sort of flaws or vices unless you
know.
accuse me.
Yeah, it speaks pretty poorly of you. Okay, how old are you?
No, because it doesn't speak poorly of me. It speaks pretty well of me. I don't want to go out of the way to bring the conversation down to the gutter. I want to keep the conversation at a level where we can actually have...
Okay, you realize you're doing liberal civility politics right now, right? Being confidently, calmly wrong is much worse than being frustratedly correct.
But you're not... I don't think you're even correct, and you're just being frustrated. I think your frustration is a cover for your own lack of knowledge.
On what specific issue am I factually wrong? Also, how old are you?
I would say every single issue we've been discussing.
Okay, can I?
You yourself
wait. I'm actually we can take a chill pill, okay?
Why can't I say the same about you?
We can take a chill pill. I'm not actually interested in China anymore. It doesn't exist. I'm interested in you. How old are you? What media do you consume?
26. I usually consume YouTube media.
Okay. Are you like having an okay time like making friends, or do you feel you develop parasocial relationships with online figures?
This discussion. I don't understand why we're getting into this.
Okay. Well, because I do, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic when I say this. I do think you're crazy. So the only thing I can do now is try to find out why you are the way you are, so I never become like you. I'm not
interested in having this discussion because I don't even think I don't think I'm crazy. I'm not.
That is typically the position of people who are crazy. Yeah.
You think that it's typically a good faith move to ask people like that they're not crazy? How is this not bad faith and dishonesty?
Well, I've tried to discuss these topics with you, but it's not possible. It's like arguing with a toddler, I guess.
You're not my therapist, though. You're not my counselor. I don't trust your motives here. In fact, I completely distrust them. I think what you're trying to do is glean information about my own personal details so you can use them to crush me emotionally.
No, I'm not interested in insulting you. I just think your brain is broken, and I want to help. Can I help?
When we closed the discussion, you just insulted me. How am I supposed to trust your motives?
Well, because I don't want to be you, so I have to help. I have to help. If I can help you, I can prevent myself from being like you.
I'm not. I don't want to have this. I don't trust you enough to actually reveal any of those details to you.
Okay, you don't actually have to reveal any details to me. Are you inebriated in any sense? Are there any drugs you're currently on?
I'm not inebriated. Inebriated in any sense. I'm not on any drugs.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking. I think we just have different definitions of everything, but all my definitions are the ones that are used in academia and by the dictionary, and your definitions are really weird ones.
I try to use Marxist definitions. I don't use the academic definitions.
For one, Marxist definitions are often incorporated into academic definitions. The entirety of sociological critical theory is based off like Marxian analysis.
No, it might be. When you say based off it might be like it might have taken it as an inspiration, but it's like, isn't it? It's fundamentally a different thing now.
Do you know anything about critical theory and sociology, or are you just assuming it's wrong or different from what you expect?
Like, isn't critical sociology like focus on other factors besides?
Yeah, it uses a Marxian base work of class antagonism as a vessel for uncovering social antagonism.
Doesn't it also like take out class and throw in a bunch of other identity groups to like into the conflict. Conflict framework.
Intersectionalism or intersectionality isn't incompatible with Marxism.
I think it is. Intersectionality is because intersectionality privileges, or it puts class struggle at the same level as all the other struggles. It doesn't center class.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Marxism,
what if there are other issues?
Marxism specifically centers class, and it analyzes the other issues as flowing from being the result of the fundamental.
Critical theory doesn't put them all on the same level. It just recognizes that there are different intersecting forms of antagonism that define like the social landscape.
That's all it does, and it doesn't center. It doesn't like try to level the playing field between all the other antagonisms. Then intersectionality can be compatible with Marxism.
Yeah, you know, sometimes class isn't the only issue. Sometimes there are other more serious issues.
I would say that class is the fundamental issue that's underlying even the more serious, urgent issues.
What about transgender people?
What specifically about them? I would say like if you're talking about all the discrimination they feel.
Yeah, that they face. Their treatment in society doesn't have anything to do with class.
It's not like on the face class, but it's born out of the need by alienated workers to like somebody to basically
wait, I'm sorry. So trans people are born out of alienation from the workplace?
No. The discrimination against trans people.
Why? What evidence do you have that it's born out of alienation from the workplace?
Not saying that trans people are like, I'm saying that the people that are discriminating against trans people, because of the alienation they feel.
Why does alienation from the workplace lead them to being transphobic?
It doesn't have to lead them to being transphobic. They could take it out on any minority group. It could.
But rich people are also transphobic.
Rich people, members of the bourgeois have an interest in dividing the working class against each other.
Between cis and trans people, that doesn't really bear out any material reality. And I'm not just saying bourgeois people. I'm saying just wealthy people in general.
In order for you to become a member of the bourgeois, if you're talking about like wealthy people in general, just like a millionaire or like somebody that's making six figures, somebody who's not in the working class, if you're talking about that, those people, then I would say they would be part of the middle class, and their class interests would be split between both the wealthy and between the ruling class and the working class.
Wait, why? But you have no evidence that wealth has anything to do with transphobia. Like at all. Transphobia seems to be born about like pretty broadly across the social demographic.
I'm not making the claim that wealth itself relates to transphobia in any way. I'm talking about class struggle, the class nature of society.
How?
So it's not wealth. Because in order to maintain a class society, the ruling class has to keep the working class divided amongst itself. And the best ways to do that is basically to use like all these different identity groups, race, religion, your sexuality.
So it divided them between cisgender and transgender people, even though that people didn't even know transgender people existed until like 20 years ago, basically. Then like all of a sudden, like the mechanisms of capital came about to project this transphobia, because transphobia has existed for ages, but trans people haven't really socially been represented up until recently, which means that it's very unlikely that the antagonism trans and gender nonconforming people have experienced is like the product of economic antagonism. What you're doing right now is called class reductionism, and it's wrong. It's possible for bigotry to exist outside the context of class antagonism.
Not systemic bigotry, though. Individual people can be bigoted. But
yes, systemic bigotry, yes.
I don't think systemic bigotry can exist outside.
What about bigotry against short guys?
What about that bigotry?
Well, is that also a product of class struggle?
Yeah, I would say so too. Every single form of bigotry is
there is no academic lens through which this can be justified. You can't. I like how at the beginning of this you were like, well, the workers are transphobic because they're alienated from the workplace, and then you were like, well, also the bourgeois are transphobic because they're trying to make other people alienated. Like, there are forms of antagonism that exist outside class struggle. Even the USSR, you know what Stalin did with the gay people?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that class struggle?
The USSR was still engaged in class struggle with the imperialist capitalist encirclement.
Wait, so Stalin, after Lenin was dead, sent gay people to the gulags, and this relates to capitalism how?
Because capitalism in the world still existed. There was still class society in the world, and the USSR had to
Dude, you're like a simp. Are you kidding me? Is this a meme? Are you a troll? Capitalism existed somewhere else in the world, so we had to gulag the gays?
Jesus Christ.
You've been wait. This is why you're more interesting to me than your arguments. Your arguments are insane, but your brain is broken in a very weird way. You are literally incapable of processing information outside of the propaganda that's been given to you.
I don't think intersectionality itself is propaganda to you.
What?
Do you trust the intersectionality coming from the academic institutions?
Wait, who runs the academic institutions? Is it the Jews?
The bourgeois capitalists, the capitalist class.
So all education is actually propaganda? Dude, I've argued with a lot of Nazis who go down this road too.
Where does academia get its money from? Bourgeois class, from the class.
Well, usually from the state, actually.
And who does the state serve?
Yeah. So wait. So all education is. So all education is.
Who does the state serve in capitalism?
How? So wait. Just say it. All education is. Huh?
Which class does the state serve in capitalism?
Wait. I'm just wait. You don't need to do this like fake. Like I know how America and capitalism works. So say it. Do you think all education is what? Invalid? Biased?
Biased. Yes, biased. There's a class bias to all education.
None of it means anything to you if there's a class bias.
You can be biased but still provide.
Then how do you know intersectionality isn't providing valid critique here?
I do think intersectionality provides some valid critique, but I think fundamentally, it's like the fundamental claim that you can privilege other struggles to the same degree that you privilege class struggles.
Nobody says to the same. Nobody is saying to the same degree. Nobody has said that. You've said that, so I guess you've done that, but nobody believes that.
If you then the claim that you can have systemic bigotry outside of class,
yes,
class struggle.
The two things you just said are unrelated.
I also disagree with that.
Okay, then you're not intersectionalist, and you're wrong from an intersectional perspective.
I'm not intersectionalist.
Yeah, I know. You're a class reductionist. You think that Stalin had to gulag the gays because capitalism existed somewhere in the world? Do you know how insane that is? Your argument was that you had to spread dissent amongst the working class to keep the working class from revolting against the bourgeois. But Stalin, there was no proletariat class in Soviet Russia when Stalin did that. So what? He was trying to appease the foreign bourgeois? Like he was thinking like, oh man, if all the Soviet citizens get out one day, we have to make sure that they're divided amongst sexuality lines.
The Soviet Union, the people, the peasants were extremely reactionary because of millennia of class struggle.
Class struggle couldn't be anything else? How do you know it was class struggle? Also, we're talking about Stalin right now.
How do I know what was class struggle?
There are bigotry.
How do I know if the bigotry of the Soviet people, like their homophobia, was due to class struggle?
Yes. Because Soviet Russia was hugely reactionary, even for people who were born after the revolution and spent their entire lives in the Soviet Union. They were still reactionary.
Right. Because they couldn't spend their resources on combating that reactionary feelings among the people when they had to spend all their resources on trying to keep their country alive.
You're incredible. The mental gymnastics. There's no logical leap that you won't take. You'll adopt anything. You had never thought about that in your life before, but you just paused so you could quickly think of a way out of having to admit you were wrong. That's insane. It's fitting that you're anti-intellectual. You're like a toxin.
Can you address the logical leap then?
the logical leap, yeah, your argument is that all, like, for no reason whatsoever, all forms of non-class antagonism are actually a part of class antagonism, and the fact that people who didn't live in capitalism engaged in that non-class antagonism is immaterial because of some other unrelated reasons.
The Soviet Union was still within a capitalist world. It didn't just like.
Yeah. So there's no way your theories are non-falsifiable. You're like a religious person.
My theories are falsifiable if the entire world were to become communist.
That's non-falsifiable. If the only way your theories could be falsified is in a hypothetical world neither of us will live to see, that's like saying like, oh dude, I'm not. My belief in God isn't non-falsifiable. If God showed up and told me he didn't exist, then I would stop believing in him.
Pessimist as you are, you clearly are about the prospects of a world revolution.
Yeah, no shit. But you're not. You're not a socialist.
I don't think we can say so for sure that world revolution won't happen in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if you're like a weird LARPer who ignores everything about reality and is only interested in regurgitating propaganda they've heard from other people, yeah. Is every Maupin fan like this? You're actually worse than him.
Wait, why are you against having a sense of holding out the possibility? You are like definitively being just pessimistic.
It's not a matter of pessimism. It's a matter of recognizing priorities and the best way to move forward. You think there's going to be a global communist society sometime within the next 60 years?
Possibly. I'm not going to say there is. I'm not going to say there isn't.
Okay.
I just say it's possible.
Sure. Well, anyway, I don't really do like religious debates on my channel, so I don't really know if I can continue this conversation with you. You're good though. You might replace Maupin one day. If it's like a contest to find the most like brain dead anti-socialist troglodyte, then I think
we were actually having a discussion. And
we haven't discussed anything. We haven't discussed a single thing. You're impossible to talk to.
We were discussing intersectionality.
No, we weren't. We were discussing your non-falsifiable belief that all forms of bigotry stem from class prejudice.
It is falsifiable though.
How could I falsify your claim?
You really want to falsify my claim?
Yeah, how could I falsify your claim?
Help build world communism.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Do you have any final words?
I'm just saying, like, if you don't want to build.
Choke on my dick. I can't believe I went back for that. I'm going to kill myself for real this time, except only after I play some more Alien Isolation. My friend is a Tankie. Well, thankfully, not all Tankies are that bad. That was a very special boy. Oh, I want to die. I do want to die. I do. You said the same thing against Mondo, and I still want to die. Check my tech. Looking for any more debate. Wait, Hyena, do you have a debate? No, I have to play the video game. I can't do anymore. VoshVideo@gmail.com, dudes, Beardsley. Check my text. I just checked your text. Sorry. Oh, man. Thank you. So, I mean, I'll check that out in a second. I need to decompress for a little bit. I know I try to stay calm, but like it is very frustrating for me. It really does upset me. Thank you, Seabradium. Like, yeah, true, Lone Cat. It's just really painful. One of the mods claims we have a Fash available. Okay. Bring him in. Bring in. Quick talk. Bring him in. But I'm playing while I debate, goddammit. I need you guys to know, like, I try to keep a cool head, but I get really frustrated during talks like that. If that's the caliber of modern American socialism, we deserve capitalism. And I say that completely unironically, completely sincerely. If that is what we have, unironically. We deserve capital. Not only do we deserve capitalism, capitalism is a better system. He wasn't a socialist. Yeah, he wasn't a socialist, but he sure thought he was. I'm not actually sure what I need to do next. Well, Hitler was democratic because the people liked him. Okay. At least liberalism functions, dude. Fuck me. I don't care if I sound like a lib. Like, these tanky fucking lunatics, like, I mean, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter because, like, he's defending capitalism. China is a robust, powerful, and stable nation because it's a capitalist nation. I might get unbanned from Twitch with that clip. Yeah, I'm putting in work. Don Mako Umaneko, I would love to give a thought-out and detailed answer to that one, but to be honest, right now, my brain is pretty fried. Oh, God. Okay, alright, okay. So, the way forward is here, but the issue is the door is electrified, and there are too many generators that are feeding power into the door, so I need to cut the generators. But I did that one. And I did this one. Why was he so committed to approval ratings? Because he's a fascist. Because fascists believe in the will of the people, that the only goodness there is in the people rising up and supporting an authoritarian leader. But the will of the people is fragile and easily misled. You can get people to support just about anything, especially if they're at a low point economically. It's just not a good argument. Remember that when I criticize people for being fascists, I'm criticizing them for their ideas and not for the aesthetics of the things that they believe in. When I say you're a fascist, I'm not saying you run around goose-stepping or you run around beating up black people. I'm saying that your thought processes and political beliefs are adjacent to those of fascists, that you have those beliefs. It is entirely possible for somebody to be wearing a fucking ushanka or whatever, and a Soviet coat, running around with the Soviet flag, and to still be a fascist. The aesthetics do not relate directly to the ideas. Would authoritarian be more accurate? No, if he was just an authoritarian, then he would be defending Xi Jinping on his effectiveness as a leader, but he wasn't. He was defending Xi Jinping as his popularity with the workers. Just fascist rhetoric, Reno. Oh, I didn't expect it to actually hit. Fucking, I don't break anything, jeez. If he was just an authoritarian, he would say it doesn't matter what the fuck the Chinese people want. The Chinese people are still getting what they deserve from Xi Jinping. To funnel that through some, like, lofty will of the people bullshit. I don't think his ideas are fascist either. Darsh, I know you don't. You're a very soft soul, okay? What the fuck do I do? Would Putin be an authoritarian then? Oh yeah, absolutely. But Putin's a fascist. Putin is a fascist. That's an easy one. What's in that hole? I don't know, cables? This feels auspicious. I die if I go over it. Isn't democracy all about the will of the people? Oh, I can't jump over it. No, democracy is a system by which the policies of the government, or at least the people who choose those policies, can be represented or democratically elected upon. Nobody in political science uses the term will of the people because there's no such thing. If the will of the people is what democracy means, then Hitler really was. Then Hitler really was democratically appointed. I see. Okay, wait, these cables lead around. Okay. Well, hold on. Got that one. And I got this. Wait, it only leads to the two. Wait a second. I never turned this one off? This whole time? Now I feel stupid. Is it just fluffy, LARPy language to make authoritarians feel better about their beliefs? Bingo. Up! Uh-huh.
Whatever's going on with the Alga time is your fault. Because whenever I try to put them in your channel, it server mutes them. So you
Yeah, but wait, but I unserver mute them.
As soon as they go into your channel, they're automatically server muted. You need to change.
Yeah, but then I do unserver mute them.
Well.
So it's not me.
Well, you might need to change the channel perms.
But it's not that they're muted. They leave. They leave the channel.
Okay.
What are you saying? I should call them directly?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hello.
The Alga time. Why can't you just talk when I have you in the right channel?
Hello. Howdy. Wait, is this the real Vaush?
Shut up. Dialga time. Say something.
Ah! Hello?
Okay, why can't you just talk when you're in the right channel? Can't talk here either?
Drex.
Yes, sir.
You can't do that. You're not gonna get out. What are you doing? This is a new thing now. You're gonna argue with strangers on Discord servers? What are you arguing about?
Politics.
Drex, you're too deep in it. You're not doing your work. You did this all day long. It's your real voice, Drax. You can't be anonymous.
Okay, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. It's too much. I'm leaving. It's too much. Was that stage? It could be a troll. I don't know. That stuff does happen, though. A lot of teenagers come to argue with me, and I mean, that kind of stuff happens. He didn't know that he was in a channel with me, I don't think. He was moved into a channel with me. That was way too on the nose. I don't know. You really think that they would? I don't know. No, nothing. No. I'm nope. Nope. Okay. Nope. I don't. I'm not. Also, I told you these fuckers would come back to life. You're saying the will of the people doesn't legitimize the leader, but not necessarily that the will doesn't exist. Can you elaborate on that? Because the will of the people isn't real. The people don't have a will. The people are a collection of a bunch of individuals who maybe collectively align on certain interests, but nothing, no government, no people, no leader can ever truly represent the will of the people. Nor does the will of the people necessarily entail a good thing. The will of the people often leads to some really fucking stupid decisions. Fuck that. No. When people use the will of the people as a legitimizing force, they're usually doing so under the assumption that there's some sort of common belief amongst the population that, yeah, you think you're gonna maybe get yourself involved? I know the fucking game. Then why am I a Democrat or a person who believes in democracy? Because we can try. Because we can do our best to represent the will of the people, if we're using that in a colloquial sense, with an incredibly complex lattice of policies that are designed to do their absolute best to make society as fair and equitable and just for as many people as possible. But the idea that like one leader represents the will of the people, this is a lie. This is what Nixon did, by the way. This is what Nixon did with the with his silent majority. Are you guys old enough to remember that? Y'all take history in high school? The silent majority. It was an argument that Nixon made, essentially.
I must have access to Apollo. Open the tower transit for me.
Apollo transit reserved for Seegson executives and synthetics only.
Right. Then I'll have to find a way to talk to Apollo directly.
Biocontainment hazard level Omega. All permissions rescinded.
I don't have time for this.
Oh shit. Oh shit. That's our boy. That's our robot. He's got a face.
Toss a coin to your streamer. Oh, viewers plenty.
I like that guy now. Anyway, essentially, Nixon made the argument that the people of America wanted to return to some good old-fashioned white boy moralism that he represented. That even though, because it was back in the 60s, you know, even though the crazy Marxist, feminist, wild fucking pinkos and bra burners, you know, even though they wanted some radical shit, even though they wanted, you know, JFK or whatever, that Nixon represented the silent majority, that he actually secretly represented the will of the people, and it was all these crazies and degenerates who were throwing off the democratic process. That's the argument that he made. It's always been a conservative one. It's never a progressive one. Trump uses the silent majority argument as well. Yeah, he just does it in a stupider way. Why do you prefer direct democracy over representative? I do and don't selectively. There are some issues... Oh. There are some issues that representative democracy seems necessary for. I don't think, for example, that people should be able to directly vote on trade policy. That shit is way too complicated to, for average people to be able to make meaningful decisions on. Do you think a fluid democracy would work? Doesn't a fluid democracy mean like partially representative, partially democratic? Yeah, exactly, weekly winner. Yeah, defenestrator, that's probably what I would argue for then. A fluid democracy is what I would probably trust. Because you need, some policies are too complicated for a layperson to be able to understand. That's just a fact. Like most lay people, you know. So you're going to need experts to either explain them to the people, or you're going to need to elect people with broader policy beliefs, who will then like make more specific decisions, you know. How progressive was JFK actually? Not really. You think the burning down of stuff in Minnesota is bad optics? It doesn't matter. Optics is irrelevant. Riots happen for reasons. The reasons are what's relevant. When Bernie says the American people are tired of X, isn't that the same as the will of the people argument? Yes, it absolutely is. However, there's a big difference between saying the American people are tired of problem A or problem B, and the will of the people are represented by this leader. Those are two very different things with very different implications. Because I think I could reasonably say the American people are tired of having to pay so much for healthcare. I think I could defend that statement, you know. But if somebody says, like, if Bernie was elected or whatever, and he did do something about that healthcare, but people still had issues with the presidency, and I made the argument that Bernie Sanders was the will of the American people, why the spooky music? Why the spooky music? Spooky! Step to it, old man. Oh, I'm not reloaded. Posadas John, if you didn't donate today, then yes, somebody did crip your name. What? Won't let me loot. That's unusual. No. No, I'm good. Oh shit, there were multiple duders. Oh, it fried! Oh, oh good, it fried. Okay. Oh, okay. Bunch of shotgun shells. Fuck yes. Bunch of shotgun shells. We're up to 15. How long do you figure that door will hold? Not too long. Damn, there's fucking stockpile in here. EMP mine. Oh. Well, if there's an EMP mine to be used. I thought it would, like, stay there until tripped. What does that sound? There are angry robots trying to kill me. Very angry. Gas station. Oh. That's just a button, huh? Just, you know, one of the buttons you get at a control station. You know, like open door, close door, adjust temp, explode gas pipe. Have I already talked about the Pridefall 4chan operation? No. I want to see if it's actually going to be a thing. I feel like 90% of the time these fucking 4chan operations just end up being like 6 guys in a basement doing something. And then if you give it like more attention than that, it turns into this giant media thing, which only ends up giving 4chan more attention and more power. I want to wait and see if this actually ends up being something like worthy of consideration. Not trying to be like, I don't know, dismissive or anything, I'm just saying. Well, Posada Shun, they could have just had like 2 underscores or something like that, but no, don't worry. Oh man, that fire's staying there, isn't it? Okay. Oh, oh! Eh. Oh, that's right. On contact. Oh yeah, Father Halford, it's a phenomenal game. You know, I'm not sure how much the fire really bugs them, but I don't want to baton that guy. What is their plan for Pridefall? I don't even fucking know. Just another dumbass fucking 4chan psyop. Run? Wait! I ran out! No, I'm not! Get off! You're on fire! What the fuck? Forgot this fucking shotgun only holds 2 shells. Possibly cotton D-pad. Maybe one of these. Oh, so we had to fight them, I see. I could have used my resources a little bit more efficiently there, but alright, that wasn't too bad. I don't think. Basically, all 4chan, like, ops are the exact same thing. They're basically, let's create a bunch of accounts and pretend we are things that we aren't, so we can make people believe things that aren't true. That's basic, like, that's every single fucking 4chan plan. I think I'm gonna need to get rid of that fire. Sometimes they just say the N-word, though. Well, the N-word is fake, so that would also be them lying, right? Am I going to be streaming on Saturday? No, I'm afraid not. I have more doctor-related stuff on Saturday. Unfortunately, it's spread out across the day, so... Oh, no, wait. Okay. I do have something on Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming it, and we're gonna have to see how the timing pans out, but, there we go. I'm going on the Drunken Peasants podcast on Saturday. See that. Probably get a little bit of a nicer, Oh my god! What the fuck? We've had so much generosity today. Thank you. I'll get to that in a second, of course. Did you hurt yourself like that? I think the DP boys are good fun. Why go back? After the Ralph shit, they apologized the living shit out of me. Fuck you. But there's not gonna be Ethan or Ralph or Rand or anything like that over there. No, Jeff Holliday's going to be on. Jeff Holliday's cool. I saw him at SeaTac a while ago. It's a really, really, really cool dude. He also spoke really positively of the future of my career. Said he thought that I had what it takes to make it big. I mean, that sounds kind of like corny, I guess, when I say it like that, but... Yeah, Jeff was real cool. Real cool dude. Is Jeff a socialist? Nah, Jeff's not a socialist, but he's pretty consistently fun on social media. Probably the Tankie guy's weekly winner, I think. Would I ever want to go to Politicon? Yeah, absolutely, of course. And I might be going on, yeah, Arcelia. I think I'm going on at MythCon sometime soon. MythCon's like, MythCon's one of the places, I think that's where Hunter Avalone did his big, like, conservative censorship isn't real thing. But I've been invited to one of those. It might be fun to get outside the house. Jeff Holliday's not far right anymore. He was part of the skeptic community, but he bailed, and now he's, good, I think. What is Politicon? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a convention for people who do like online politics related stuff, and you go over there and you argue, try to get laid. I think MythCon is in August though, and that's a little bit. I mean, the quarantine or the pandemic will still be on. If I go during August, we're gonna probably keep minimal contact. Wasn't MythCon for skeptics? Yeah, I can try and prop up some people there.
Our team of humans and synthetics thank you for your
Boop, 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 boop.
Sebastopol transit.
Oh yeah, Hyena, because I haven't responded to the email yet. We'll have to talk about it, but I understand the possibility we might not be able to go. August is a little soon. Yeah, I kind of figured that, Hyena, but we'll talk about it. Kind of wobbly elevator. Oh, Carge Boss 99, there's a pretty big difference between destroying personal and private property.
What was that, Ripley?
Nothing. Just more shit on this station fucking up. The usual.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Fish. Yeah, I know how you know. How about we talk about it in private instead of arguing via text and stream? It'd probably be preferable, maybe. Has Contra expressed interest in going to Politicon? I'm not sure what Contra's up to. You brought it up, though? I brought up the existence of the invitation, not the debate as to whether or not we're going. When are you talking with Contra? I haven't heard back from her in a little while. Smidge concerned. Okay, so I'm here. I don't know. Oh. Oh. Okay. Yeah, she ghosted me, Pepe Hands. What are you gonna do? Never meet your heroes. No, I've responded to Contra. What's your favorite debate you've done and what did you learn from it? I don't tend to learn that much. So when I learn stuff from my debates, it's mostly like learning how to win the debate in the future, you know? With regards to, like, which debates do I think represented my best performance, the second debate with Sargon was pretty great. I'm pretty happy with that. I think honestly, I think my Caleb Maupin debate was pretty fine. A lot of people are still, like, triggered over it or whatever, but I honestly do think it was pretty okay. The I Hypocrite debate was really fun. Oh, Jesus! I haven't seen the Xander Hall and Corvidae debate. I've only had 2 debates with Sargon the due date, too. And we're back. I think your optics with Destiny have been really good. A lot of Destiny's fans seem to think that I'm some kind of snaky piece of shit who, like, Mont Bailey's the fuck out of Destiny in an attempt to make him look like unstable or something. I don't know. They assign a lot of really weird stuff to me. Doesn't look like I'm getting unbanned from Twitch, which is unfortunate. I mean, he is unstable. Well, if he's unstable, I'm unstable. Quick question, is there any reason someone may sub to Patreon over the VOD.GG subscription? Just wanted to double check for reasons I won't state. Ha! No, the Patreon occasionally gets, like, special vids, but very, very, very occasionally.
Spedding in Android processing. We've got a situation.
Wait, what do I know, Hyena?
He's on station. I've just had an Android report to the APTC with head trauma. But he's covered in blood. Human blood. I've alerted the marshals, put my secretary someplace safe, and right now... Yeah, Hyena, Dan has kinda suggested it seems like I'm not getting unbanned. I wonder if it was me having an alt account. Twitch does take that pretty seriously. That's so fucking annoying, dude. Is it weird I barely see a difference between you and Destiny? I mean, we fulfill the same basic, like, I guess, we have, like, very similar, like, niches, shticks, I guess? And I based a lot of my content off of what I learned from watching him, of course, but I'd say that we're pretty meaningfully different in a lot of very important ways. Why do you think it's okay to engage in sexist stuff like bitch? Honestly, if you guys want the hottest... if you guys want the hottest take, I really don't think that flippantly saying bitch now and again, or other stuff like that, meaningfully advances sexism that much. I'm starting to doubt that. I'm wondering if that's more of a liberal tendency on my part. The aesthetics of bigotry over actual bigotry. I'm not saying that it's not problematic. As a sociology major, that'd probably be a very stupid thing of me to say. But it's really weird to me when people will, like, impugn me for saying bitch, but then they'll say that, like,
shoe is just trying to like get my attention or suck up to me or something. Like they'll reinforce like sexist tropes pretty substantively, but they'll only complain about these really superficial aesthetic things. Also, most of the quote-unquote sexist jokes that I make are, I try to structure them in such a way as to not actually provide people any sexist arguments, which I think is really important. So, if I come over here and I'm like, femoids are stupid, haha, is that right, fellas? Like, I'm saying that, okay. But in the context of my broader content, it's pretty haughty and superficial and shallow. I don't really lend those arguments. I don't actually give people... Guys, they're blowing up the 3rd precinct? Oh boy. Oh well. It's complicated business. Ooh. Want to watch it live? Fuck the game. You can just open up the NBC feed. Hey. No. 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 Go back. Go back. Back to bed. No. Go back. No. 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 No, you shouldn't be here. You should be asleep. I'll help you. Oh, shit. Go to the NBC one they're explaining? Explaining what?
You're starting to test my patience.
You guys really want to see the NBC stuff that much? Yeah. It's important. I just like video games.